Welcome to Scorched Earth and the general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of September. I hope you are well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today. Now, I have not been well. I was quite poorly last week, but I am better. I've still got a bit of a residual rattly cough though, so I hope I'm not going to bark at you too much during the course of this reading and it behaves itself. We'll see how it goes. Now, if you have not seen these readings before, I structure them slightly differently to the main monthly reading, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I believe there is wisdom, or indeed a lesson, contained within every experience and interaction that we have. And sometimes we lose sight of the bigger picture when we get bogged down with the day-to-day minutiae of life, right? So this is an exercise in perspective. What we're going to do is look at the energy that you are in right now as an energetic check-in, and we'll pull 3 cards for that, and then we'll pull 3 cards and see why you are in that energy in the first place. Like, what is it trying to show you? Sometimes it's trying to show you something about yourself. Sometimes it's trying to, flip your perspective on things. Sometimes it's trying to clear something out of your life so that new stuff can come in. We won't know until the cards hit the table. And then from there, we'll go through some cards of advice and try and help you navigate, what can be, well, fucking challenging sometimes. That's the idea, at least, anyway, and that's what we're going to do. So, do I have anything to tell you? Oh, I do, yes. So the 6-month overviews that I did for each of the signs that run from July to December. We're now over a third of the way through that period, so I've knocked the price down accordingly. That's the link in the description box, the top one. So if you haven't checked those out yet and you are interested, there's now like a significant reduction. And at this point, I really do just want people to get the message, So if you feel so inclined, do go and check those out. Let's have a look. Oh, if you're on Patreon, you get access to all the extended stuff for no extra cost anyway, so it's just a thing. It's fucking noisy outside today, right? And the right way around. So, let's start off and see where Cancer is right now. I have 3 cards for Cancer. Thank you. We have the first card. It is the Hierophant. We have the Knight of Cups. And we have the 5 of Wands. Now, interestingly enough, the very first thing that I felt when the Hierophant came out was emotional stability, which was then borne out by the fact that we had the Knight of Cups appear directly after it. But then we've got this 5 of Wands here, and I don't feel like that is you at all, Cancer. I feel like there is conflict around you. But you are at this point acting possibly as some sort of mediator. But if not, then certainly in an energy of trying to keep your emotional well-being sort of front and centre for you. We've got the Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck with the Ace of Pentacles. Now, the Knight of Wands is Sagittarian energy. And you may well have a Sagittarian around you, but if you don't, if this doesn't involve a Sagittarian anywhere, then what we've got is an energy of being entirely present. And this is really, really good for you, Cancer. I really like this. And it's followed by the Ace of Pentacles, which is an energy of new opportunities coming towards you, right? The 2 of those together is about being present-minded enough to be able to spot opportunities as they kind of gallop in front of you. If you happen to be looking elsewhere at any given point, at the past, or maybe focusing a little too hard on the future, or, even just being distracted by something in the here and now, and this looks like it could well be quite distracting, then you might miss this. But the Hierophant is Taurian energy. There it is. And it can speak of structure. It's a very solid card, but it speaks of commitment. It speaks of devotion, in fact, in some ways. Now, that's an area that is sometimes a little tricky for Cancerians, but it feels entirely solid. We're starting off with this major arcana card that speaks of solid commitment, right? A very stable base. And then we have the Knight of Cups. We have someone moving in a very healthy way from a heart space towards this conflict. Now I'm going to pull a couple of extra cards for this because, like I said, I don't feel like this conflict is yours. You may be involved in it somewhere, and one would assume that you are. You're not just galloping towards random incidents and pouring oil on troubled waters, although you might be. Tell me about it, please. We have the Chariot and we have the Ten of Swords. Now this puts quite a different spin on it. We have the Eight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. This is a conversation or communication of some sort. And then we have the Chariot and the Ten of Swords, and the Chariot is the card of Cancer, interestingly. But it's also a card of equilibrium. It's a card of balance. It's a card of, bringing a sense of evenness to any kind of situation. But it's coming here with the Ten of Swords, which is an end. So we like that because it's an end to a difficult situation. But it can also talk about pain. It can talk about, the ways in which we are shown very challenging lessons by the hands of other people. There's something trying to close out here, and it's something that feels like it's been somewhat of a thorn in your side for a while, but what has changed is your reaction to this. For me, as I'm looking at these cards on the table here, the Chariot looks like a step up from the Knight of Cups. They're very similarly attired. But where this Knight of Cups is going sideways like this, and Cancer tends to scuttle sideways up to, emotional situations for fear of rejection, and then they kind of scuttle away again when rejection is implied or even, directly expressed. The Chariot is turning around and facing directly the situation, directly what is going on. And it seems to me like you're in a place emotionally that is actually really rather good, but this, whatever this is, it doesn't feel like it's necessarily a new situation. It feels like it's something that's been percolating along for quite a time. And rather than coming at it sideways with a sense of almost pacifism, like, oh, please don't be upset, please don't be cross, I didn't mean this. Here is my cup, it's not an apology exactly, but, know that I love you and everything's fine. There's something altogether more empowered about the way that you're facing this situation. Let's just slap a bit more of that in there. And the thing is, it looks like an escalation, and one perhaps that you've been quite afraid of. The reason why you've come at things sideways was because if you said what you really thought, this whole thing would blow up and then there would be consequences. And at this point, those consequences are not something that you feel comfortable with, or had felt comfortable with. But there's a change of attitude going on here, and it between the Hierophant and the Chariot, it's a major change of attitude and change of approach. Like, the angle of approach is no longer sideways, it is dead on. And this will, by necessity, escalate the situation. But I think that you're ready for it, Cancer. I think that you're ready for whatever this is. And it could be anything from petty squabbles, those kind of nitpicking family members, or the friends who are always saying something, you're not quite sure how to take it. You give them the benefit of the doubt, but you think, oh, that was actually slightly bitchy, that sort of energy. Everything right through to, full-blown fallings out over things where you have always acted as the peacemaker in this situation. Something's coming to a close. And I think that you're ready for it. Like I said, you're turning to face it now. There's a strength in your position that
has been absent up until now, but it's almost like you know what you stand for now. You know what you believe in, and you're quite prepared to defend it. Because you are now in a state of alignment, and it feels like you asserting yourself over some sort of situation, and you know it's going to go badly, but you're going to do it anyway because it's the right thing for you to do. It is it is the only way that you can honor yourself and what is right for you at this point. Now, I'm coming back to this Knight of Pentacles and this Knight of Wands and Ace of Pentacles. And it's very interesting that we have an ending here, but we have an opportunity springing up directly after it. And I wonder if there's a possibility that this situation may not go anywhere near as badly as you anticipate that it might. Because we have an end with this Ten of Swords, an end to, you know, difficult and challenging energy. And we have now a new beginning here. Now, this may be with this situation, or it may be that clearing this situation from your existence, meaning that you are freed up in the present, means that you spot an incoming opportunity that you might have been distracted from otherwise. And by opportunity, I mean it could be anything. I see the Pentacles as energetic currency. So that's anything that you are capable of investing, your time, your care, your effort, your energy, your love, you know, whatever it is. You free it up from where it's been stagnating, and you can redirect it to somewhere else, you know. Why is Cancer here? Please, Cancer in this energy. So we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse, by the way. Ooh. We have the Seven of Cups in reverse. Oh, this is strong. For Cancer, please. Thank you. And we have the Nine of Pentacles in the upright. Oh, look. We have the World at the bottom of the deck. It's actually called the Universe in this one, but it is the World. I think you're done taking everyone's shit, Cancer. Now, this is something that you've been doing for a while now, like, and it's been, I don't think there have been any, you know, huge flaming rows about things. You've just been shoring up your foundations for quite some time. And with that comes a sense of empowerment. There comes a sense of emboldenment, right? You know, like, oh, actually, no, I deserve to exist. My feelings are valid as everybody else's. And slowly, bit by bit, your confidence improves, and your ability to be able to assert yourself and align yourself with what is right, what is true to your values, rather than potentially capitulating to other people. So this is very strong, though, Cancer, because this situation, whatever it is, and whoever it involves, it has had you kind of, well, upside down. I mean, let's put it that way. I often say the Two of Cups seems to me to be the card that varies. Two of Cups, what the fuck am I talking about? Two of Pentacles is the card that varies the most across decks. I love seeing all the different interpretations of it. You know, sometimes people look like they're stricken and they're only just managing to juggle these two pentacles, right? And there's an entire maelstrom behind them. Other times the sea is completely, you know, it's just doing its thing, and they look positively gleeful about this gymnastic thing that they're pulling off. We've got a stricken one here. It's somebody trying to keep all the balls up in the air, even though they're standing on one leg at the end of a fucking jetty, and here are these enormous waves coming crashing down. You know, there's imminent threat here of being knocked off the end of the jetty. This actually feels powerful to you, for you, to me, rather. Because it feels like it's addressing the issue for the first time. It feels like up until now what you've been doing is kind of, you know, standing one leg on the end of a jetty. You've been kind of dealing with the surface stuff, all of the things that sit around the perimeter of this situation. Been trying desperately to juggle all of these pentacles, right? Just keep it all up in the air, it'll be fine. Keep standing on one leg, it'll be fine. Ignore the waves, it'll all be fine. You know, it's a difficult situation. And it seems to me that what is being shown to you here is that you don't actually need to do that. Now, is it because this situation is not your responsibility? That is very possible. Cancerians, one of the things that you have a predisposition towards is taking on responsibility for things that are none of your business to take responsibility for, because other people tell you that it is your job. You know, what I'm seeing here is a level of self-awareness, right? We're going like, I am not you and you are not me, and I am living my life as you are living your life, and you can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to compromise on what I feel to be right, the right way to behave with things, you know? It's almost like putting everything down and going, well, fuck this, I'm going somewhere else, you know? Instead of trying desperately to balance this situation out all the time, it feels to me like you've realised it, you don't have to. It's not important anymore. And this is a major revelation, because the next card that you've got is the Seven of Cups in reverse. Now, this way around, it talks about emotional confusion. In some ways, it talks about emotional illusion too. So for it to come out in the reverse, what we have here is the scales falling from your eyes. And this is why you are in this energy at the moment, right? Why you have become so resolute and so firm and so determined about what you are going to do. And it's different to the way that you have done things before. Like, you're in no doubt now about the right thing to do. And the only thing that's changed is the way that you allow you to show up in the situation. You know? Follow what I mean? Because then we've got this card here, the Nine of Pentacles, this glorious card, and I can't tell you how happy I am to see it here for Cancer, because it is a card of self-sufficiency, it's a card of independence. It's a card of standing alone and not being afraid to do so. In fact, really enjoying the moment. It's good resource management. And remember, I see the Pentacles as energetic currency. So where you are spending your time, your care, your effort, your money, your love, right? Is it in the right place? Has it always been in the right place? Well, we know that that's not the case. Because amongst other things, you have a predisposition towards codependence, right? My Venus is in Cancer, right? I get it. I understand. And codependence is often depicted by the Devil card, right? And I always think that this card here, even though it's minor arcana, is the polar opposite to the Devil, right? There are other cards that, but in terms of codependence, right? Minor arcana is about the things that you do day to day, the things that you engage with, right? The changes that you make in your life by your behavior and your mindset and your attitude and all that kind of thing. Major arcana is bigger energy than that, like it's huge energy. But in this capacity to say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm sorry, I don't think that's right for me. You know, or even just no, which is a full sentence in itself. Like, this is standing in front of the Devil and going, no, I'm all right, thank you. I'm enjoying where I am right here, right now. And I am not going to feel compelled or coerced to behave in a particular way. And that is something that I think has happened for you a lot in the past. No need to balance out the situation at all. All confusion, all illusion removed from the situation, and all that is left is Cancer standing pretty in their garden. The bird on their arm, I imagine looking at an incredible view, you know, standing tall. This is excellent. And definitely pulling some sort of major cycle to completion. It's possibly one of those situations that isn't huge, but it's a constant low-level worry for you. You know, sometimes you can forget about it and it's okay, and then something will happen and you're like, for fuck's sake, it's here again, fucking hell. It looks to me like you're dealing with things in a very, very different way now. And as a signpost to personal growth and personal evolution, that's a huge one. Like, I spoke quite a lot in the September readings. I don't know if it was in all of the signs videos. I have actually no recollection whatsoever, but certainly in a good handful, about the energy of this moment kind of collapsing timelines, old timelines, but also newer ones, where you would go into that in the same energy that you've always experienced, right? The act of saying no, or the act of saying yes to something that you might have said no for various reasons, you know, lack of self-worth or whatever, in the past, is collapsing all of those timelines where this cycle perpetuates and inflates, if you will, like, you know, a foot pump. New timelines. And where was it? Yeah, Ace of Pentacles. New timelines where you get to do things differently because you changed the story. You changed this story in here, which is the one that you tell yourself. It could be a very minor situation that has enormous consequences for you, you know? Let's get you some cards of advice. Some advice for Cancer. There's the Knight of Swords, the High Priestess. I'm taking all of those, for fuck's sake. I'll shuffle them back in. Now I have one more card for Cancer, please. Thank you. Five of Swords. Yeah, like, at this point, like, don't be afraid to speak, ever, Cancer. And speak what you feel. Attend to what it is that you feel, because you're so tuned in at the moment. You're really, really tuned in, Cancer. Like, these intuitive bumps, I think, for Cancer, have been getting really quite strong at times, and what's going on is a kind of tension between the mental programming that has been installed in you and has been operative for, you know, probably decades. And your intuition, which has always been really strong, but seems to have really kicked up a notch over the last few months, right? And there are little things that you don't know where it came from, but the conflict is learning to trust this over the programming, right? And you've done an incredible amount of work on that in the last year or so anyway. But it's coming to a point now where the High Priestess is starting to take over the programming. And the thing is, you've got to trust it. You've just got to let it go. And part of that is, don't be afraid to speak your wisdom. You know? Don't be afraid to speak about what is right for you. And don't be afraid to keep your mouth shut at times, right? So consider the way that you are communicating with people at the moment. Do you over communicate with people who are basically just fucking energy vampires, right? They're just draining your life force from you. Do you engage with that too much? Well, if you do, throw up some you know, good fences there and pull yourself away from it, you know, energetically. Are there situations where you don't say what you truly feel? Well, then you need to do something about that. Those walls need to come down too. It's about bringing yourself to that point where you can just exist and you can just be happy there, being you, without fear of whatever's coming towards you, right? It's good spiritual protection is a thing, but it's about standing in your power, Cancer, to the fullest extent, and not being afraid to walk away from anyone who is trying to hold on to all of the swords there. You know, just because there's history with people, it doesn't mean that there is a future with people. You know, I think often, and I say this again as someone with my Venus in Cancer, I think that we we apply an odd kind of sunk costs fallacy to our relationships, and it's like, well, I put all of this effort into this person, like I've spent loads of time on this person, I'm not going to walk away from them at any point. But when the people that surround you, and there have been points in the past, Cancer, I'm absolutely certain, where this has been the case, you've been literally surrounded by energy vampires who are just pulling you every which way. It just drains you and it turns you inside out. Sometimes you have to look at a relationship, like the Knight of Wands, in the here and now. What does it do for you in the here and now? What's it done for you at any point in the recent past? Probably much, much less than you've given it credit for. You look at it and go, this isn't worth it. It's just not worth it. I'm going to let it come to an end. I'm going to say my piece. I'm going to assert myself. I know that this is going to escalate it, but actually, ultimately, it is time for this to end. And I'm going to let it go because I am now honouring me and my path, not everyone else. I think this is actually a really, really strong reading, Cancer. And I'm impressed. I'm seriously impressed. You're going to feel a hell of a lot better after this. You know, there may be some, residual things that come up, and a little bit of guilt and a little bit of second guessing yourself. Oh, should I have really said that? Yes, honestly, yes, you probably should. And you probably should have said it a few years ago, but no, like everything happens at the right time. But it's a good indication of where you are and where you are going, and your emotional stability, your steadfastness at this point. And long may it continue, I think. So, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.